Stop right there. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Cancel all your plans of moving abroad. You cannot leave this country unless you have the income tax clearance certificate or the ITCC. That wasn't a clickbait. In fact, all you tax savvy NRIs or rather NRIs to be are going to want to know this. Let's begin. We usually start with a brief intro, so I thought why not spice it up this time with a quick quiz. What do you think is the income tax clearance certificate all about? A. A certificate proving you've paid all your taxes. B. A document allowing you to leave the country. C. Both A and B. D. Neither A nor B. Take a moment and comment your answers below. If you guess C, then you're right on the money. The ITCC is used for both of these things. But there are several nuances and caveats to the laws surrounding it. Now, you may be wondering, why is it so important suddenly? Why should I care? Do I need to apply for one? What's the process like? There, don't fret. I'm here. In this video, I'll answer all these questions and more. What is the income tax clearance certificate? First, let's understand the Income Tax Clearance Certificate or ITCC. An ITCC is issued by a state government department, usually the Department of Revenue. It indicates that the receiver has cleared all dues and has no tax obligations or liabilities. Depending on the state, the ITCC will cover different types of taxes such as sales tax, use tax, franchisee or corporate tax, etc. Now, picture this. You're all set to move abroad, bags are packed and tickets are booked. But surprise, surprise, you'll also need the ITCC. But why now? Well, in the Union Budget 2024, a new provision under the Black Money Act was added. According to this, no person who is domiciled in India shall leave India unless he obtains a certificate from the income tax authorities stating that he has no liabilities under the Income Tax Act or the Wealth Tax Act 1957 or the Gift Tax Act 1958 or the Expenditure Tax Act 1987. Now, does everyone need to get an ITCC? After all, you might be going to Thailand or dare we say the Maldives. So who should have the ITCC? Let's clear the air. Who must apply for the income tax clearance certificate? Initially, the government announced that all overseas travelers must apply for and have the clearance certificate. However, after the social media rage that followed, the government mentioned that it isn't mandatory for all the travelers. Any person meeting the following three criteria must be applying for the income tax clearance certificate. A. They are not a resident of India. B. They have traveled to India for work, business or other purposes. C. They receive an income from an Indian source. Besides this, the majority of Indian citizens don't need to have an ITCC unless they are suspected of serious financial irregularities and are required for investigations by the IT or wealth tax departments. They have an outstanding tax arrear exceeding 10 lakh rupees, not cancelled by the direct tax department. Before you take a sigh of relief, there's one other thing for the Indians who don't require an ITCC. Anytime you're traveling abroad, you have to show your PAN details and fill out Form 30C, wherein they state the country that they are traveling to, the purpose and the duration of the trip. If a domiciled resident is planning to shift abroad, then it is mandatory for them to share the PAN details and submit Form 30C. So what happens if you do require an ITCC but don't apply or get one? What do you think would be the consequences? Stick around till the end to find out. For now, let us look at the documents you need to apply for the ITCC. Documents required to apply for the clearance certificate: a PAN card issued by the Income Tax Department, a valid passport with relevant travel details, copies of tax returns filed in the last few years, proof of no dues, which is any document that proves you don't have tax liabilities, such as tax payment receipts or no due certificate from an assessing officer, your travel itinerary, which entails proof of your plans, flight tickets, and accommodation details. Before we detail the various steps required, here's a quick pop quiz to test your memory. Comment true or false for the following questions. A. All Indian citizens must apply for the ITCC when traveling abroad. B. If you're a domiciled resident, you must fill out Form 30C when traveling abroad. C. If you decide to permanently move abroad, you don't need to fill out Form 30C, but only the ITCC. Tell us how many you got right. Coming to the most important part, how to get your hands on the ITCC. Step 1. Check if you need to apply for one in the first place. Doesn't make sense to go through the hassle for no reason. Step 2. Prepare the documents mentioned in the previous section. To reiterate, it's your PAN card, passport, proof of no dues, copies of income tax file returns, travel itinerary. Step 3. Fill out the application form for the ITCC on the income tax portal. You'll need to mention accurate details and provide supporting documents as directed. Step 4. Pay the application fee on the portal and save the receipt for your records. Step 5. Review the form and attach documents. Once you do a thorough check, submit the application and note down the reference number. And voila! You've applied for your income tax clearance certificate. You can track your application status using the reference number and check for updates. Once the application is processed and approved, you will receive the certificate on your registered email ID. Print a copy and keep it with you as you'll need to present it to the airlines or immigration authorities while traveling. What happens if you do not obtain the tax clearance certificate? Now coming to the elephant in the room. What happens if you don't receive the tax clearance certificate? Usually, it is the responsibility of the carriage owner or the aircraft owner to check if the passenger has the ITCC. If the passenger on board has not paid their taxes, then the onus is on the carriage owner. If it is a chartered plane or ship, its owner is responsible for paying all the taxes and obtaining the income tax clearance certificate. Failure to do so will result in the government treating it as a tax arrear and looking to recoup it. Furthermore, the person responsible will also face penalties, fines, and potential restrictions on future travels. So that was all that you needed to know about the income tax clearance certificate. Here's a quick summary of the key points. The ITCC is a document proving you've cleared all your tax dues. It's mainly required for non-residents and those deriving income from India. Most Indian residents don't need it for travel but should still be aware of the regulations. The application process involves submitting various documents and filling out an online form. Not obtaining an ITCC when required can lead to serious consequences. Before we sign off, here's a final thought. How do you think these new regulations will impact international travel and business in India? Share your thoughts in the comments below. That's all for today's deep dive into income tax clearance certificates. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.